Where is Jay at today? So we've had Jay outside. We've had Jay rolling, rolling dirty in his car, and now he's just back in the office. It's kind of just boring setting right now. But Jay Moore, black shirt, joining us. Jay, how we doing on a Wednesday?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I got in the office a little earlier this morning. I feel like, the acoustics in a car are always pretty good, but I think the offices can be even better. So got in here to get some work done this morning and chit chat about a fantastic win on Saturday by the Big Red.
You're just giving us all the perspectives of Jay's life on a Wednesday. We had, again, the outside, then you're in the car, look pretty nice car, nice setup. Now you're being business Jay today. I get it. Let people know.
Try to get all aspects right.
So I heard this last night on Big Red Wrap Up. And I think there are a lot of fans and a lot of people that were following this game that would echo your sentiments of just getting their voice back. So you're good there. I know that you were heavily involved in rooting for the Big Red on Saturday, but I got to start with defense. You knew what the matchup would be going in. You saw what played out. As far as your biggest concern in the game against Colorado and how Nebraska looked in being able to counter that, what did you come away with on Saturday from the defensive side?
Yeah, that we're pretty darn good on the defensive side of the football. One of the best offenses we'll see all year. Now, I think what USC has and what Ohio State has is more well-rounded. But from a wide receiver core, I don't know if Nebraska is going to face anything better than what Colorado has. But my biggest concern was, can they get home with 4? And they obviously did. I mean, I figured if Nebraska can get home with 4 in the pass rush and even 5, that they'd be fine in the back end because you have 6 or 7 guys in covers to handle, Horn and Hunter and just that explosive crew that they have. And that was the case. I mean, from the first series, from the first snap of the game, I mean, they were in the backfield all day. Couldn't run the football, knew they wouldn't be able to run the football. So Nebraska would probably be able to pin their ears back. But the ability just to when you can keep 6, 7 guys back in the back end, you can do so much more with coverages, and that's what they did. That's what they were able to do to shut down those guys and really not do much. I mean, hold that offense. I know the offensive line has issues and they're struggling to run the football, but to hold that offense with, I think they had 260 total yards. I mean, less than 275 yards. That's doing something. Now you could say, yeah, offensive line issues. Yeah, they can't run the football, but still, they tore up some defenses last year with a lot of the same players. So very, very encouraged. I think I knew what this defense was going to be. I just think probably from a national side of it, I think people are like, okay, they're legit. Those 11 guys, or they played much more than 11 guys. That defense, that Tony White defense is legit and gonna be tough to deal with all year.
Yep. Why does and this is probably something that comes up every time we watch Nebraska play a team that'll spread them out and likes to play in space. Why do you think this team that has been under the direction of Tony White now for 14 games, Jay, they just tackle well?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it is in them on that side of the ball that we used to spend hours talking about Nebraska's issues tackling? Nebraska went and spent all this money on a tackling system. We're 14 games into the Tony White era, and we don't really even talk about tackling issues.
Mm-hmm. They work on it. It's a mentality, but they work on it. They practice it. They practice physical. I mean, they're getting after it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday during the week. So you got to work at it. And it's just, and you have an older defense helps, but everyone comes with bad intentions. And that's what leads to good tackling is you come there and you're trying to take the guy's head off. You're trying to take him out. You're not just kind of half stepping. I hope I can make the tackle. I hope someone else can, get around me to help me take this guy down. It's like, no, I'm gonna go make this play. So I think it's a mentality thing. They've embraced a much more mentally tough mentality than we've seen in the past, and they work at it. And I think they embody everything about what this defense does with this staff. They're intense. They're hard on them. Tony White said it yesterday, in the press conference this Tuesday. We're the worst defense in America. They don't allow them to get complacent. They don't allow them to, feel themselves right, to get big headed. They're gonna build them up during the week as it gets close to the game, build them up, and then knock them right back down starting on, Sunday when they review the film. So I think it's a mix of it. Yeah, the tackling has been, knock on wood, right, has been really, really good through the 14 games of the Tony White era.
The tackling, Gary brought this up when we were talking on Monday about some of the defensive takeaways too, and in the pick six alone, if you look at both John Bullock and Isaac Gifford, what they took away, the attention to detail on this defense and assignment sound, the football IQ of this defense, Jay, is what I want to get your thoughts on, because I know it starts with how the defensive coordinator and all the position coaches, how they lay all of that out. But when you look at the football IQ at every level, even from the younger guys that are still getting, well, I guess everybody's still getting used to this defense because they're on the same boat. But is that an area that you've even seen improve here in the short part of this season compared to last year, where it was still relatively high?
Yeah, I think, again, that speaks to, I think obviously having older guys on your defense, that helps.
Yeah.
You have 6-year guys on the defense that help, but you see a lot of young guys. We saw this last year with Cam Lenhart, Princewell, some guys in the secondary were able to come in, Raleigh Van Pop, a lot of young guys come in and play at a very high level. So I think what they do, because you can make defenses as complicated as you want them. And let's be honest, the 3-3-5 can be rather complicated just because of tons of moving parts. But I think what this staff has done a really, really good job of is their message, right? And how they get that information across and how they prepare. I think there's an element of football where you can go in the meeting. You teach it in the meeting room, right? X's and O's on the whiteboard. You got to transition from that to a walkthrough. You got to be able to get yourself out there, get familiar with it, and then take it to the practice field against the scout team or the first or second team offense. And then you got to do it in a game. So I think these guys firmly have grasped that process. And it's not there's no storm that goes left unturned. I mean, it's like I said, it's a meeting room. The guys are cued in. Guys are cued in at walkthroughs. Walkthroughs are some of the most important times. That's, for me as a player, that's where I learned the best, was a walkthrough. Drawing up on a whiteboard, sitting there at a chair, a lot of times it would go over my head. I had to go through it, right? See myself in a certain technique, where I'm going. It just helps the brain. But you have to be able to do it in the practice field. So I think how they've gotten the information across to the players, but also not in a way that bogs them down. It still allows them to play fast. But I think the maturity of the team helps. And like I said, they're hard on, they're tough on them, and they demand a lot. Just being at a few practices, they expect a lot out of these guys, and they got to answer the bell every day. And they're ringing it, man. This defense is ringing that bell, and they're fun to watch, and it's fun to know that you can rely on them, for 4 quarters.
You got a football coach, Jay, that at 2-0, and we're all curious on how they're going to handle success when people are talking about them, and it's not just the quarterback. We're talking about multiple guys on that team. How do they handle that attention? But you got a football coach that talks about that, but then gets into the details on Monday, post a nice win where people are still patting you on the back, and goes in depth on some of the minor details about wide receiver play, route running, and blocking. Something or nothing that he has pointed that out, and it was pointed out last year with that group of wide receivers.
No, I think it's something to that. I think this is what this staff will do. And like I said, Tony White making the comment like, hey, we're the worst defense in America on Tuesday. It's always finding something, right, that can get better. You got to recognize the good, but you always got to recognize what can be better. And there's never a perfect game. That was about as close to a perfect first half by them that they played. And it could have been even better. They left a lot of points out there, penalties. But yeah, the edge blocking by the wide receivers needs to be better. But I think they'll always find something to almost make a mountain out of a molehill type aspect, because they don't want these guys to get too high on themselves. And I think, not like I don't think they're this team that with maturity they're ever going to go there, because they haven't won football games in a long time. So I think the psychology and that aspect of it all, if there's anybody that is going to knock them down a peg or two and not make sure the heads don't get too big, it's going to be Matt Rule. And that's his messaging to the media, after practice or after a game, his messaging, on Monday mornings when they're getting ready for the next game plan and install. There's always going to be something that he's going to make sure that their attention is going to be there to not allow them to think ahead and get complacent. So I'm not too concerned about, even heading into this week, right? A little hangover effect. I think there's enough that this team needs to work on that they're going to be keyed in, Saturday night.
Jay, Marcus Satterfield yesterday, and this goes back to what Matt Rule said on Monday, and then Marcus Satterfield also doubling down on the perimeter blocking. And he had mentioned, I thought this was interesting, that this had been a problem in fall camp, and now they're seeing it play out in games where it's just been kind of sloppy, inconsistent. It's an area that they know they need to improve on. And I know you being as a defensive guy, not necessarily on that side of it, but also understanding when something shows up in the fall and now you're early in the season and you're seeing it showing up in games. If you're trying to get this as a quick fix before you get into conference play, what's the realistic expectation if there is a weak spot there, especially when it comes to blocking like that, that is something that can be fixed in a matter of time, that it doesn't burn you or really impact you in a major way when it comes to the competition that will be here before we know it?
Yeah, I don't think it's an earth, it's not a total reset. Again, just like tackling, blocking's a mentality. And let's be honest, wide receivers probably don't really want to block. Yeah. They just want to catch the ball and look good doing it. But that's the best ones take it personal. And Jamal Banks and Nayar should be unstoppable blocking out there because they're giant human beings out there. They should win every matchup, but it's a mentality. But you got to practice it and you got to work at it. So I'm guaranteeing you right now, they're probably practicing right now and they're on them. I guarantee you that wide receivers, the coach, I'm blanking on his name, Garrett McGuire is on them. Coach Satterfield is on them. And I think they can get it. And if there's a week to get it and get it figured out and get some confidence in doing it, it's this week. So I think we'll be able to run the football against Northern Iowa, but it's got to improve. There's even though we look at this, the next 5 games, or 4 after this one, Illinois looks improved. Purdue's definitely improved. Indiana's going to be tough, so they gotta get the blocking right on the edge. And they get the special teams things figured out too. Otherwise, there'll be some close calls here in the Big Ten.
Hey, you played in these type of games before. You played against Western Illinois. You played against Nicholls State. Nebraska's playing Northern Iowa. They're ranked. There's a lot of respect for them in the inner walls by the coaches. And I think a reminder of, hey, Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame. This is college football. Anything can happen. How do you, as a player, approach these weeks when that guy that is, you're a frontline starter, but that guy that is 4th string, this is his next opportunity to play, and you want to help him out, but you got to deal with, they put on their pants the same way. They got scholarship guys on the other side. How do you approach this week from a player standpoint when you're playing an FCS team?
Yeah, exactly the same way they approached the last 2 weeks, and I hopefully the same way they approach, the next 9 games after this. That's what good teams do. That's what mature teams do. They don't put any one opponent on a pedestal. You should approach them all the same. Your preparation should be exactly the same Monday through Friday. How you recover throughout the week and how you take care of body should be exactly the same. But this is a game. If I remember playing Nicholls State my senior year. I think that was our second game. Their very next game we had to go to USC, right? In 06. So that was like, oh my gosh, let's just get this game over. And it was a hard week of practice because Nicholls State ran like veer triple option stuff you don't ever see. So it was a tough week of practice because how you had to play the offensive linemen and making sure you had to keep them off the linebackers and all this stuff. So I remember going into Thursday practice and be like, God dang, I feel like I played a game already. But you have to approach it, no matter what. You have to respect them. You always got to respect your opponent. And then what you want to do as a starter is earn to get that second half off, right? Earn to get that 4th quarter off. They earned that a bit right to that when it happened against UTEP. They've got a ton of guys play through 1.5 quarters. You want to earn that ability. Go out there, take care of your business, make sure it's clean, make sure it's right, do it the right way. Don't have asset right because you can get hurt. So you got to approach it the exact same way and earn that right to get off the field and see your pals that are backing you up go make some plays in the fourth quarter.
Couple things that, and we've talked about a little bit of it, but a couple of things that have still kind of remained a mystery as far as how it could impact and things that need to improve. Special teams has been a bit of a roller coaster as well. Jay, after 2 games and being a game away from conference play a week from this Friday against Illinois, what are you most concerned about as Nebraska gets into their final non-conference game and heading into conference play?
Yeah, I think special teams, I'm concerned. I think when you're getting a Big Ten play, and we've learned this now for, 10 plus years, that points are a premium, and you got to have a kicking game, right? You have to be able to have a guy that can get up there and get you 3 points when a drive stalls out. You got to be able to flip the field and pin an opponent deep. You have to be able to protect on punt, protect on field goal. You got to be able to take points off the board, and we've blocked more kicks on the field goal team in the last couple of years than I can remember. So very, very important. I think Coach Foley will get it right, though. I think the return game has gotten better. Mm-hmm. Haven't really seen it had a chance. I think they potentially could get one here in the next couple of weeks. Punt return with IGC or with Barney on the kickoff returns. But it needs to be improved because I don't care if you're playing Illinois, Purdue, Ohio State, or whatever, right? USC, you got to have the hidden yardage. You have to have it. You got to be able to flip the field, and you got to get points. And right now, I'm concerned. The kicking game, I don't know if it's Alvano or it's the other guy. You got a punt blocked against a safe look, which is unacceptable. That should never happen. Just little things, right? Attention. And special teams, just like run blocking for a wide receiver, it's all about attitude. It's not fun playing special teams. It's a grueling job. It's a gritty job, but it's how you approach it, and you got to do it the right ways. Otherwise, it can lose us some ball games later in the year.
Absolutely. Jay, we appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the week and Saturday night, and then it's on to the Big Ten for next Friday. As always, thank you, my friend.
Yep. See you guys. Talk to you next week.